one side in Sunrisers Eastern Cape that have, throughout the group stages, looked the most completed, well-rounded side. And comparatively to the Pretoria Capitals that went up and down like a yo-yo and were rescued by their overseas players.
And I'm not saying this because they're West Indians in the team, but I think that team is unpredictably dangerous.
Probably wouldn't look to Andre Russell. Just he looks, stride short of the gallop at the moment. I'd probably go to somebody like a Tynel Mills.
Norkia is just rapid and dangerous and nasty.
I think you have to take early wickets. So getting one of de Kock or Bairstow out early.
You gave me a prediction at the start, a couple episodes ago of Down. So you told me the Sunrisers Eastern Cape would go on to win the tournament. They're here in the final again. Are you sticking to your prediction? The time has come. Think about the hours of preparation, the beads of sweat during the season to get to this point. This would have been on the whiteboard of every team at the start of the Betway SA20 Season 4. It is time for the grand finale, and we're down from 6 to 2. Pretoria Capitals, Sunrisers Eastern Cape, and we had to bring Mr. Clutch himself to walk us through and preview Mr. Owen Morgan. Morgs, wow, we've got here quickly. How do you feel? Excited?
Very excited, Nikhil. I think a lot of fans, players, amateur, professional can go a lifetime without seeing their team get into a final. And finals are something that you should enjoy, embrace, cherish absolutely every moment. So I'm excited because it's been a hell of a tournament and it all comes down to this.
Well, I'm an Arsenal fan, Morg, so I could know exactly what you're talking about. A lifetime. But Morg, if we get a little closer into these two teams, two very competitive teams, it's actually a rematch of the final in Season 1. But I looked at the two sides, very different. That Pretoria Capitals side, none of the players that played in Season 1 in the final are in this team. Sunrisers, on the other hand, they have a number of their core players participating who've been in all three finals and now will be in a fourth. I want to ask you, because you played in a few finals, is it a big difference maker when you've been there before and you've almost seen what it takes to win and to lose?
Yeah, I think it is. And having played in a number of finals, certainly going into the very first one you ever play in, it's completely new ground that people are trotting. So if you've been there, done it before, you know exactly how the tone of the day should go. You know exactly what to stick to. Under pressure, better teams, more experienced players make simple decisions when they come and watch the game unfold and take everything in and try and adapt as the game goes on. So it's going to be fascinating because you've got, one side in Sunrisers Eastern Cape that have, throughout the group stages, looked the most completed, well-rounded side. And comparatively to the Pretoria Capitals that went up and down like a yo-yo and were rescued by their overseas players without the likes of Shea Hope and Surfane Rutherford, they'd be gone. They'd be out of the tournament. That is without say. But they have performed. They've allowed their local guys to breathe, to get into the tournament a little bit later. We've seen the coming of Dewald Brevis. And it's been great. So you see other players grow around environments like that, and everything can be about momentum and confidence. And also, the advantage of winning qualifier 1 and going straight to the finals. So all to play for, and I'm looking forward to it.
In these games of this magnitude, you need your leaders, right? And I actually think you've got two contrasting leadership styles battling. Kesh is probably at the back end of, or much deeper in his career than Tristan Stubbs is. And from a leadership perspective, 2 years ago, he was in the final, lost it with Durban's Super Giants. And he's very calm. I remember interviewing him earlier this season. They lost a couple games on the bounce. He was calm. But Tristan Stubbs, on the other hand, is like someone who you can tell that emotion constantly comes out, the celebrations on the field, etc. How big of a role does a leader play in a game like this, and contrast the two leaders?
Yeah, I think leaders on big days play a vital role. I think what you want to see from your leader is a cool, calm head in the big moments. When you compare the two captains, start with Keshav Maharaj. You know, he's had an outstanding tournament. He often goes unrecognized, but just has operated in a manner that hasn't inhibited his leadership position. You know, you can often say with bowlers of his quality, they don't necessarily know when to bowl themselves. I think he's nailed that. He's brought himself on at good times. He's built pressure. And even from the game at Centurion where they played Sunrisers, where Bairstow and de Kock took him down, you can see other inexperienced players, less leaders, falling by the wayside and letting that affect their leadership. This hasn't happened with Keshav Maharaj. Tristan Stubbs, on the other hand, young leader, very exuberant, likes to be passionate, but in the moment needs to isolate cool, calm decisions under pressure. He has done that so far. So each of them doing it in their own way. And on a big day like the final, you want to see them continue with that.
Let's shift our focus to the teams and start with the Pretoria Capitals, who you rightfully mentioned have been unpredictable this season. One big thing for them will be selection. Lungi Ngidi has had some niggles. We don't know if he will pull up. He's important, albeit only 7 wickets this season. But the one I'm wondering about, Morgs, is the overseas makeup. So we know that Rutherford, as you said, has been excellent. Shea Hope has got 100 in the tournament. Roston Chase has come in and done well. But that fourth one, you've got Jordan Cox on one hand. You can both say batting. You've got Russell, who hasn't fired with bat in the last couple of months, but gives you the bowling side of things and experience. Where would you be leaning to?
Yeah, it's a day game, remember, at Newlands. So I think conditions will lend themselves towards going with Roston Chase. You know, he's a very experienced player. What you see is what you'll get. He can bowl in that middle phase, power play phase, or even at the end. We saw him, close out a great game against DSG, and Joss Butler was at the crease, in and set. So I would tend to lean to him. I think if you wanted left field options, I probably wouldn't look to Andre Russell. Just he looks, stride short of a gallop at the moment. I'd probably go to somebody like a Tymo Mills. We saw him at the start of the tournament. He's bowled really, really well. He had one bad game against the Sunrisers, and he's been left out since. So if you wanted a left field option, I'd go with the extra pace and variation. But I would imagine, I think a good decision would go with Roston Chase.
And for the other team, they've been settled. Sunrisers, they've had guys come in and out, but Chris Green has come in seamlessly. James Coles, what a performance in that qualifier too. What should their approach be if they're to win this tournament again?
I think their approach should naturally be aggressive. I think the surface here in Newlands will lend itself to that. I think they're batting at the top of the order, and actually right down to James Coles has been strong throughout. Possibly the stumbling block throughout these qualifying games has been who to insert batting-wise at different times. I thought, they delayed Gretzky at one stage, then Coles came in late, and just a little bit muddled throughout the stages. They sent their skipper in, possibly at the wrong time. So ironing out exactly what their best informed batters for each and every situation I think will be crucial, because in T20 cricket, 2 quiet overs in a game during that middle phase can halt momentum into the latter phase of the game. And I think decisions like that are going to be important, but I would imagine they will be unchanged. They've so many options with the ball. They bat deep.
How do you think you beat them?
How do you beat them? I think you have to take early wickets. So getting one of de Kock or Bairstow out early is imperative. I think to beat them and one of them go early, you're probably talking about a 165, 170 game. You need a left arm spinner in order to attack Bairstow. You need pace to attack de Kock, that with variation. So you almost need everything. They've looked the most well-rounded side until this stage of the tournament.
And that's another thing. Guys like Norkia Mudasamy played with Pretoria Capitals. Norkia was actually in the final against SEC a couple of years ago, playing for the Capitals. The role of their bowling attack on a whole, Janssen left-arm pace up front, Norkia is just rapid and dangerous and nasty. But then Mudasamy's flown under the radar. How do they all fit it together?
Well, I think probably the balance of the side that they went with in the previous game, only going with the 3 overseas players and leaving out Lewis Gregory, I think is probably the way to go forward. It almost forced them to bowl Coles a little bit more. And if that qualifier one, he didn't bowl at all, he possibly should have bowled more. They were almost afraid to bowl him to Dewald Brevis. I don't think they should be afraid of bowling him to anybody. He's been absolutely outstanding in this year's tournament. Comes with a lot of pedigree, a lot of talent with the bat and ball. So more opportunity for the young 21-year-old.
Just on Brevis quickly, Morgs, do you think he's turned another page in his career now where we're going to see this, I don't want to say more complete player, but maybe a more adaptable Dewald Brevis, as we've seen this season when they were 7 for 5, for example?
Here at the Betway SA20 this year, playing alongside Sherfane Rutherford, he is, sat back, watched some of the mistakes that he's made, watched Rutherford absolutely cane it, but be composed and calculated around how he's played. I think that's allowed Brevis to see it right in front of his eyes as to how you be a more rounded middle order to lower order player.
Well, Morgan, the time has come. You gave me a prediction at the start, a couple episodes ago up down south. You told me the Sunners Eastern Cape would go on to win the tournament. They're here in the final again. Are you sticking to your prediction?
I'm sticking to my prediction. I'm going against the grain because the rest should have done the Pretoria Capitals good, but I'm going with the Sunrisers.
And I'm not saying this because they're West Indians in the team, but I think that team is unpredictably dangerous. So I'm going to go on the other side, Morgs, and I'm going to say the Capitals. Guys, all to play for. Can you imagine another time that team in orange will be lifting this trophy? And Morgs, if they do it, surely dynasty. You giving them that status?
Absolutely.
Okay. 3 wins in 4 seasons would be incredible. But the Pretoria Capitals will be looking for their first. It's finals time, and it's all to play for.